MindFreak is obviously the best Australian team. I know that they have the potential to do good, so we're definitely not going to underestimate them. We just got to go into every single series thinking we got to win this series and we got to take as many maps as we possibly can without dropping as many maps as we can.
So what impressed me about Evil Geniuses at MLG Anaheim is the fact that I guess people doubt them and they just come out firing.
If you look at their win ratio percentage, it was nearly all about 50%, so they win the important games. So that's something we've got to look out for in terms of, you know, they still play with confidence and they clutch up when it matters.
We know that they just play really fast pace, and for the most part, we struggle against fast-paced teams, but we struggle against fast-paced teams that have a lot of structure, like LG. MindFreak doesn't have the exact same teamwork and structure as LG, so it's a lot easier to beat them than playing like a fast-paced structured team like Luminosity.
I feel like we have the better players, but it just comes down to the chemistry. So obviously they've made a roster change. We've made a roster change, just depends on who gels quicker.
If you were to seed our pool, we're obviously the second seeded team and they're the last seeded team, so I think we'll take them 2-0.
It's going to be a close series. I believe if we prepare well enough in Search and Destroy, we can edge them out. Possible 2 wins, if not 1 out of the few days.
That was our players, Evil Geniuses and MindFreak, getting ready to go toe-to-toe. This matchup is going to tell us the story of the rest of the day. Both teams desperately need a win after finding themselves at the bottom of the leaderboard coming into day 3. And guys, we've already seen this matchup once. Remember, all of these matchups, it's double round robin. The first time around, it was 3-0 in favor of Evil Geniuses, but it wasn't necessarily a blowout when it came to the Hardpoint, 250 to 221 on retaliation. This time around, we're gonna see the map throwback. And I have to get your thoughts just on Hardpoint. When you look at these teams, EG, clearly on day 1, they didn't win a single Hardpoint. The only game mode they were winning was Search and Destroy. So now seeing them match up against MindFreak on day 3, who do you give the edge to?
It's tough to start off on. I want to give a little bit of an edge to MindFreak for some reason. If it seems like EG's better at the hardpoint maps where Havoc can roam around and have a little bit more free space to work with, and that's why he did so darn good yesterday. For whatever reason, I think MindFreak's going to come out with the fire today. They know what's on the line. They have to be playing perfect Call of Duty. So I think the throwback, for some reason, I'm just feeling MindFreak. There's not really much facts behind it and stats behind it, but that's just what I'm feeling today. I feel like MindFreak's going to play that fast style that works so well on the map.
What about you, Momo? Who are you calling here?
I've got to give it to EG, and again, I think it's for the same reason, is they both know what's on the line. It's kind of, you have to win this series. Like, if you don't, you're in a lot of trouble. I'm going to go with EG. Havoc was kind of my player to pick out from yesterday. I think he comes in with that same fire today. And I think we get a better performance from Parasite as well.
Havoc, the leader of the Greasy Gang, that's his friends over on his Twitch stream. He talked a little bit about what he's been putting into the game, knowing what's on the line in the second half of 2017. And we got a chance to sit down and talk with him about his thoughts coming into this big weekend.
The point where I was like, I need to play more and I need to commit to this game is after MLG Atlanta, we got top 20, and I felt awful because that was my worst placement in 2 or 3 years. That really woke me up, and I told myself I really got to commit, stop streaming, stop doing YouTube as much, and just team scrim more.
This is a team that 3-0'd them in the winter semis at Anaheim. They're certainly looking for revenge, and Havoc is going off. 32-19, just cuts down 3. He is screaming. He's got reactive armor to work with. He's about to double up on his Scarab. Can he keep it going? Everybody just melting in front. He wants to pop the reactive.
Havoc has dominated here in the uplink against Luminosity, 35-20.
Yeah, and you can see, obviously, Havoc having such a great day number 2, 1.23, but the big thing, Slayer, he's dropping almost 29 kills per respawn. That's such a great stat overall.
Yeah, overall stats, KD, Slayer, S&D. He's shining in all 3. If he goes into this one, I think he takes it.
Those are his numbers from day 2. He was Momo's player to watch coming into day number 3 from Evil Geniuses, and he is going to be a star to keep our eyes on from EG. On the other side of the stage, real quick, guys, before this match kicks off, who is the star representing Australia in this matchup?
I think it has to be Shox for me. I mean, Fight has been playing consistently, but Shox, you know, it's a throwback hardpoint. The game's going to be very, very fast. He has to step it up and be a top Slayer.
You said Shox was one of the guys that underperformed on day 2. Yep. Was there anything in particular that you found weak about his game?
I just think his slaying. I mean, compared to stage 1 and when we've seen MindFreak really just, you know, show you know, that they're doing very well. Shox is one of the top leaders in that, and I felt like yesterday he wasn't doing that.
TP, we got a chance to watch Shox throughout all of Stage 1, and he was topping almost every leaderboard. The man was going off. Is it something different about not having Excite and not bringing Dens into the role? What do you think may have an impact on his game today?
It seems like he is taking more of a back seat on this team. Joe's been talking a lot about Shox, and I agree with all of his points there. I feel like Dens needs to really step up. He's the new pickup on this team. He is the quote-unquote best player in Australia. Where's that guy been? I watch a lot of VODs where this guy's single-handedly carrying Tainted Minds in maps. I don't think I've really seen that yet from this MindFreak squad, especially from Dens. And look at these win rates. Well, not very good, a quarter each.
25%. Not the best you want in those 3 game types. And you're going up against an EG team that is out for blood today. Momo, if you're going to see a victory from MindFreak in our first 3 games, where does it land? Do you think it's the Hardpoint? Is it Search and Destroy on Breakout? Or are you going with Uplink on Precinct?
It's got their first map win for me is going to be their S&D. I feel like that Hardpoint kind of swaying just towards EG. Again, like Teep said, I don't know why. But I feel that MindFreak, they definitely have what it takes to do this. Yes, their map win percentage is poor. They need the 2 S&Ds, and I think they need to take that link as well.
2 S&Ds, that's going to be the key today. Joe, how does it happen?
I'm just worried about the uplink. That's a big thing to me. MindFreak's uplink this weekend has just been abysmal. And EG, I feel like they're getting better and better at it. Yesterday, they took down Luminosity. It's just going to be very tough for MindFreak. They have to win game number 1.
Statistically, I think everyone's going to agree that Evil Geniuses has the edge here. Let's take a look at some of their numbers. While MindFreak was 25% across the board, you see the weakness. It's glaring. The strength right next to it, though. You have Hardpoint at just 14%. You don't win any of them on day 1. You struggle in day 2. They have to be better in that game mode day 3. But if it does go to a Search and Destroy, if it does go to that final game 5, look at that win rate, 80% up to this point in the tournament.
Quality gameplay overall. And that's why I talked about the hard points early in this one. Talking about map number 4, if it does get there, I feel like EG's really good at Scorch. So MindFreak, if they're going to win this, I really do think it's going to have to be a quick 3-0, try and catch EG off guard. If it does get to map 4 or 5, all confidence in EG. I'm only giving MindFreak map 1, though, to be honest.
As we take a look at the maps here, guys, let's get some predictions out of you. Joe, I want to start with you this time. You just said LG was going to 3-0 Fnatic. Fnatic won 3-2. Quick reminder.
Yeah, that's a fact. I'm going to go EG here. I think I agree kind of with Teep. I feel like throwback Hardpoint, I feel like it's going to go towards MindFreak. I'm not sure why, but games 2, 3, and 4, I think are all going to be won by EG.
2, 3, and 4.
Yep.
3 in a row. Momo, you?
I'm going to agree with the 3-1 Evil Genius. I think the first and second switch, I think MindFreak take Breakout S&D.
TP, I'll give you one chance to get out of this. Are you sticking with the MindFreak call?
I was only giving the hard point, so I'm taking EG 3-1. I'm going to be boring as well.
3 1s across the board. Very exciting stuff here from our analysts, but don't worry, we have even more fun waiting for you on the other side of the stage. Let's send it over to our casters. We got Maven with the very tall Mr. Rex.
Thank you, gentlemen. The box he is standing on certainly assists
quite large
in that regard. But all right, let's talk about this real quick. So the reason, the most important thing in this series is EG really needs a 3-0.
Yeah.
A win in general, they need to have a chance, obviously, going up against the match finally Fnatic. But if they don't 3-0 here, if they drop any maps to MindFreak, the only way they can get through top 2 is a 3-0 Fnatic. And the way Fnatic's playing today, you don't want to have that looming over you. If it ends up being like a 3-1, I think there's actually some... We might even have like a second best of 5. There's a lot of scenarios down the stretch.
Basically, EG needs to win this series, ideally 3-0.
Yeah.
A win 3-1. They can still figure out a way to get second place, whether it's it goes to head-to-head or another series.
It's just basically if they drop any maps here, it puts a lot more pressure on them.
Yes, without a doubt. But I mean, a lot like the guys on the desk. At best, I can see them. Well, at worst, I can see them losing one map. I don't think they lose the S&D. They've been so strong in Search and Destroy. I think the Australians can make their mark in the game 1. I agree with TP on that. But I would say EG 3-0s here. I think they take care of business.
And the reason it's so important is because Fnatic, they came in with a little bit of a map advantage in the loss column coming into today. Fnatic's now sitting at 10-9 overall map count. A 3-0 here would put you in the same category, really. If you're looking, you'd be 10-9 as well for EG.
And I know Fnatic had obviously an incredible match against Luminosity. They come out on top in that one. It's a big win.
That series was
for
awesome
them for the rest of the day. Incredible series. But you look back at some of their other series throughout the weekends. A lot of those round 11 losses in Search and Destroy, rounds they gave away. They win some of those maps, they were sitting real good.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And that's what's crazy to think about. They lost their first 3 searches in a round 11. They start out 0-3, and it's all round 11s. They end up winning 2 round 11s in 1 series against Luminosity, for God's sake. Like, what a great story. And Tommy, man, just what he was able to do there. The clutch at the end. He gunning 3 players. After Octane got the camo, I thought they were toast, but
so did I.
We'll focus more on this series as MindFreak. I mean, really, they're just here to play spoiler at this point.
And I think MindFreak, look, you want to get a lot of good practice in, right? I know you come over to North America a little bit earlier. I think I've heard one of the guys, I think it was Buzzo, I think you interviewed him, and they haven't really been able to get a ton of team scrims, a lot of just 8s lobbies, just trying to like get used to the play style, just playing against better players. I think this is where they can kind of really start to build up towards champs, right? You make this roster move. Has not worked out as intended at the beginning. And, putting Dens right back in the lineup isn't the same team they were before. I think this is definitely a learning process, again, for MindFreak. I definitely think these next 2 matches, they can definitely get a lot of good games in.
Well, it seems like a lot of the guys felt good about MindFreak on the first game. That a lot to do with the fact that you had such a low, a 14% win rate in Hardpoint for Evil Geniuses, but it's not like MindFreak on the other side have been brilliant either. 25% in all game modes. They've struggled mightily throughout the course of the weekend, but Havoc, I'm glad we're starting off with them. Just, oh God, you see the great shots there, but how good he has been this weekend in Respawn could very well be the difference.
Yeah, that little video piece we did. Obviously, a very talented streamer, an entertainer, and it's very difficult to be able to do that and compete. I know Seagull, some of you guys may be watching this, watch some Overwatch as well. Seagull, big player there, on NRG. He had the same kind of dilemma, streamer, player. He actually ended up going the streaming route. He's like, you know what, I'm going to take a little bit of break. I'm going to keep going with the streaming route. It's very difficult because you're such an entertainer, right? You're trying to pay attention to the chat, everybody, your subscribers and whatnot. That to focus on the scrimmages, it's very difficult. The rest of your team gets angry. And then it's hard to get that good practice in.
Yeah, very rarely do you see one of the top streamers in any of these competitive esports titles also being the top player. I think some of the members on Optic Gaming for COD might be some of the few. But so far, it's a little bit of a lead here for Evil Geniuses, but we're going to be rotating over to Barn. Parasite is in behind. He could go big for his team. He wins the first gunfight, can't get away from the second, and now it's going to be EG attempting a retake.
And Nameless getting off to a 1-4 start. He was so good in stage 1 during the group stages. Saturday and Sunday, definitely the MVP of both of those days. Needs to show up big here on the final day. It's going to be 2 kills for Evil Geniuses, and you see on the map they're converging on this player inside of Barn. It's going to be Fida, though, with Shocks trying to hold this down. They take out Fida. It's going to be Shocks, the only one over there for MindFreak. He is going to fall. Dens off the spawn, falls to Havoc as well. So it'll be a retake for Evil Geniuses.
Havoc does get a nice 2-piece that allows them to hold on for a bit here. They still got 3 players and a quick spawn up in blue for Havoc, so he'll be able to rotate back very fast for this. Parasite doing what damage he can with the MV4. It's a kill and an assist for him, but all of his teammates end up dropping outside of Havoc, and Dens is gunning right now. Nice shots from him, 9 and 4. That is the Dens they picked up. That's the Dens they need.
Yeah, now Teep and I, we watched a lot of the Dens VODs we were talking about, and we watched some of the games that he had on Tainted Minds, and this guy was just insanely good. I mean, an NV4, K-Bar, ERAD, didn't matter. Single-handedly winning them games. And I think you come back into this MindFreak team, and it's kind of odd to say, but it's hard to kind of play with better talent when you kind of step back a little bit. Like, you're so used to just trying to carry the load. I think that's really been an adjustment for him individually coming back to MindFreak.
Well, it'll be unfortunate if they finally figure it out a little bit here in the final day.
Yeah.
But so far, very, very close. We're tied up at 50-50. And what looks to be a tight game 1 between EG and MindFreak.
Somebody needs to win this Hardpoint game.
Yeah.
Saw both of their win rates. I believe it's 14% for EG, 25% for MindFreak. Somebody's going to get a little bit of a boost here.
Stumble into a victory.
It's like, we get a draw.
Well, I think LG, they're at 90% now. They were at 85 going into the series. They won both in that one. You add up all of MindFreak's modes together, and you don't get to the Hardpoint win rate for LG.
No. Which isn't ideal if you're a MindFreak, but you get control of baseball field first. That's ideal. You have Fida working on some streaks. 5 streak to his name, has the Trinity Rocket as well. Just going to play this close corner, let a teammate bait for him, hopefully pick that kill up, but they're not able to get it on to Havoc as Havoc comes over the top, able to pick him up. Nameless and Parasite get inside the hill. It's a quick break for Evil Geniuses.
Let's see if Nagafin can turn it around a little bit. No, they're not trailing big. Obviously, still very much in this game. It's early on, but he's 4-10. And yesterday in the respawns, where it kind of surprised me was the combination of Havoc and Nagafin. They were absolutely going off. You do see on the kill feed, Fida end up investing his Trinity rocket into this hard point. It's able to get them a little bit more time. With 15 seconds left, I like that. You actually get about 20 points there off using the Trinity.
Yeah, and it's so early in the game that you see Fida already, you know, on a 3 streak, working towards more score streaks, make it 4, not able to make it 5. But I don't hate that either. You invest that streak earlier into the game, maybe you give yourself a little bit of a lead, and then that forces EG to start pressing a little bit, right? You know, pushing more hills out, you can build up some more score streaks.
Well, now we rotate back to our second set of rotations. It's top mid yet again, and kills going the way of MindFreak. We're on to Fida at mid-map, who has just exploded here. He started out a little bit slow. It was all the Den show. Now it's the Fida and Din's combination. It's 15 for Din, 17 for Fida. Just far and away outslaying everybody on the side of EG. And if this is a slow start from EG, like maybe we saw in their Luminosity series when they got kind of blown apart there to kick off Breakout, you can't have that right now. You know what's on the line. You need to get a 3-0 victory here. It's so huge for you, alleviating some of the pressure down the stretch on day 3.
They have to know what's at stake, right? I mean, we were outside with Nameless.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
definitely knows what's at stake in this match. And if you're EG, I think there's a lot of pressure, right? You start to lose, you know, at the beginning of game 1, then it gets in your head, like how important these wins are. If you're Fnatic, you're upstairs, you're excited watching this, you're cheering on the Australians going into this match. And you see Barn coming up. It's going to be MindFreak with control of it early, and EG needs a break here. May have, you know, you see a first kill there from Havoc, but they can get in, break this hill fast. They'll be able to get a chunk of time, be able to come back in this game.
Oh, you were so close to getting streaks for Havoc, but it's a Scarab that comes in and finishes him up. He falls, I think, 75 points short of the Trinity rocket. It's now Din's trying to maintain the back area by line, and anyone pushing through the mid undercut, trying to come through Grandma's, he's going to be able to get vision on him. Just playing his life right now as he's weak, but unfortunately all of his teammates dropping inside. As he rotates over, he gets an unlucky timing as Havoc came off spawn.
This is such an odd game of Hardpoint. Usually you see, you know, a team in the lead, everybody, you know, around positive even, but right now, I mean, it's going to be MindFreak in control of this game. Fida 23-11. Gens is 18-16 now. You look at the other two. I mean, Buzzo starting to heat up a little bit, goes on a 3 streak before I, you know, make this point. But, you know, Buzzo and Shocks, they were just way far behind in the kills. I think it was like 7 and 8 respectively for each before that hill. It's an odd game. As you see, now it's Parasite on streaks. They get a 4 streak as he's trying to get inside the hard point. You know, play a little bit further back now as he's backing up over towards Lemon. Play for those streaks. He falls. Nagafin, though, has really dropped the ball here in game 1.
Yeah, you were talking about players on MindFreak that need to turn up. Nagafin has to, someone alert him that the game is underway. We're a solid 5 minutes in here. He's triple negative. 6 kills. Like, if this was a breakout, I know we've seen some games with like 10 to 14 kills. Like real low kill games. They can go that way, but not on throwback. I mean, throwback, you're flying. It is very fast, frenetic. You have to be getting something going right now.
It's a map where you can't hide. Like if you are playing bad, we are definitely going to see it and realize it. And Nagafin right now, 6-19. Could not get any, well, it's 6-20. Definitely did just get worse as Parasite just trying his best. I mean, this is why they picked him up, right? You know, put up big numbers in the slaying department. 24-15 right now, doing a nice job, but you know, just one guy switching it out isn't going to make it better. They need the rest of the team to show up, specifically Nagafin. He needs to turn around in the later half of the game.
Well, we saw Nagafin using the ERAD quite a bit. Just picked up a kill with the K-bar. Maybe a little bit of a switch as he was getting frustrated. The entire kill feed, though, it's going to be blue for MindFreak as they start to build a lead.
We've played games for a really long time, and when you're struggling, you kind of play a little bit slower, right? You're just trying to play for some kills. You don't want the game to end and everybody look at the scoreboard and be like, oh, wow, like what happened to you? So I'm interested to see how Nagafin plays the rest of this game, whether we see him play a little bit of a slower pace, try and play for himself, or just keep playing at the same pace, just trying to pick up some more kills. I think you need to play at that same pace, because you start playing a little bit selfish, a little bit slower for some more kills, definitely hurts the rest of the team.
Well, the fact he put the ERAD away and pulled out the K-bar makes me think he's playing a little bit different. He has to. I mean, the role changes just a tiny bit, just based on how you perform with a particular weapon. But at the same time, he was gone from 6 kills to 9 kills rather quickly. We'll see if he can start to build upon it, but still,
it's
just a rough game. Yeah, the fact that EG's been this close in it, with that, I mean, Parasite is doing his best to kind of counteract that as he's 25-17. Somebody needs to go off right now as you're kind of down a man in a lot of these key gunfights.
Fida's going to end up being at around probably, what, 40-22 or something around then. before Nagafin gets to 13 or 14 kills. That's insane. You cannot have that in a game this important from EG.
And look how close the streak Shox is. You know, Fight has been going off. We know how good Shox can be. 1 kill away. He's got Camo to work with as well. The call-out should be coming in. That he needs to look back as we saw 2 players starting to push through. Nobody looking over the top of him, though, so he will ultimately be cut down. EG looking to rack up these final 10 or so points and just keep themselves in this game so they can make a clutch play down the stretch.
Here's where EG can make the comeback. They have control of the center Hardpoint. They have control of Barn coming up next. But you see MindFreak trying to push forward. Yep, there comes the spawns for EG. They'll spawn over by Barn and the Centurion down from Nameless. Now the pressure's all on MindFreak. EG can come back, take the lead on this Hardpoint. It's all on MindFreak to break.
Yeah, and Shox does have Camo. He's pushing around the top side of the minimap. Can you get the Shox POV? Well, his entire team dies. I do not think he will be investing Camo. Oh, God, wow, okay. Parasite gunning. Everybody just dropped from MindFreak. A perfect hold on the first attempt there from MindFreak. EG just shuts him down.
And remember yesterday we were talking about, some players, obviously a Champs play a little bit better than others. And I still think, big games. Look at Parasite. I mean, he's played in big games before, comes out here, knows what's at stake for EG. Giving his best effort in game number 1.
I think I mentioned Nagafin getting from 6 to 9 kills a solid 60 seconds ago. He's only gotten 1 since then. I don't know what's going wrong, but he is certainly off. The fact that this is a tie game is crazy. If they win this, you're just thanking your teammates, saying, "Guys, I'm here for Search. I'll be back in the S&D," as he does finally tack on his 11th kill. But
I just don't know how it's possible to lose a game like this when you have somebody on the other team that is playing so poorly.
Well, is it because it's kind of a one-man show for Fida? I mean, I know they're all kind of around even, not severely negative, but he's the only one really kind of crushing EG right now.
Well, to be fair, Denz was playing very well at the beginning of the game, right?
That's
he's
true.
25 and 30 right now.
Yeah, he's slowed down.
Slowed down quite a bit. So, Fida still, Fida's slowing down a little bit too. As EG, they've gotten control. Now they have the lead with a chance to end it here on Bike Path. It would be a big comeback for EG.
And Nagafin, when you need him most, now he's finding a 2-piece, starting to get involved in the slang as EG looking to put this one away. But it's Buzzo finding a couple of kills here. It's the 2 kind of slower players that haven't had good games that are finding the kills down the stretch, though. But with 10 seconds left, we're absolutely seeing another hard point. You've got Shox on one side with Camo. No payloads to work with for Evil Geniuses. Nagafin very, very close. And look at that, he's erupted. I talked about getting to his 11th kill. He hops out to 16. He's gone good down. He's gone big down the stretch. They need him here in a big way, but Shox's Camo could be crucial. He gets 2 kills. Third, sitting in the corner, he's trying to locate it, hasn't been able to pick it up yet, put some shots in. The Camo all gets burned. Good job getting away. It's another 2-piece from Nagafin. Nagafin gets killed, though, as he pops his payload.
Yeah, Nagafin goes on a 4 streak there. Parasite coming in. He's able to get 1. Not going to be able to take out Shox in the back. And MindFreak trying to hold on to the hard point. They just need 7 more seconds.
Shox 6 kills in a row at baseball. He is a monster here. 7, 8, shredding everybody down the stretch, and MindFreak get it done. So now, EG, guess what? You've got to win this series, and now you have to 3-0 Fnatic in the final match of the night.
Such a crushing loss for EG. They kept it close the entire game. It's just they did not get enough from Nagafin at the beginning of that one. If he would have played a little bit better, you can't really put it all on one guy, but
I know, yeah.
Still, when somebody's that kind of negative, they're just around even, that's a completely different game. That's one that EG is probably running away with.
And actually, I thought, he was going to do just enough towards the end of that game.
Started to turn up a lot towards the end, yeah.
To take the victory, but not able to do so. MindFreak are going to clutch up. They will. That continues. Your woes. You were already abysmal in hardpoint for EG. That's going to drop even lower than 14%, which is tough to imagine.
It just seems like they can't get everybody going at one time, right? I mean, we've seen Parasite struggle at times and Nagafin really go off in the respawn game modes. Then we see Nagafin kind of fall behind, and then you see Havoc go off. It's just they can't get everybody clicking on all cylinders in Hardpoint specifically. Uplink, they've been kind of hit or miss. That's really been when Havoc's playing well. In Uplink, they've been able to win, but Hardpoint, they just have not been able to get everybody working.
And you heard the guys on the desk, they thought the game 1, that's where they favored MindFreak. They thought the next 3 were going to go to EG. They need to right now. It looks like faces of frustration here, but you have to muster up the strength, turn it around, and fight back in this series to give yourself a chance, because
you got to turn around quick.
You lose here, Fnatic. You're going to be going into the top 2 with Luminosity to fight for that $500,000. And it's a good story, man, for Fnatic too. They're a little bit, they come close, but not close enough as far as looking back to stage 1. But back to this one, you see the stage 2 S&D kill record. Parasite, that game he had yesterday versus MindFreak was...
he was sick yesterday.
Absolutely amazing.
I expect Nagafen to turn around here in S&D as well.
I think so.
So good in Search and Destroy. Obviously, EG, I think it was an 80% win rate in this game mode. I think they're going to take the S&D. With how important this match is, I'd find it kind of unbelievable if they lose the Search.
Well, we come into this, I was about to say, you had, yesterday it was 3 out of the top 4 were from EG. Now they take the entire top 3. Nagafen, Havoc, Parasite, putting in work in Search and Destroy. That's incredible stuff. I mean, the only thing I can compare that to, and it's a much different scenario, but it was, what was it, Splice from stage 1, where they had 3 players in the top 4. It was like all 4 were in the top 10. Just insane. And we were playing like that. You're winning your searches.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think if this EG team can figure out game number 1, they can get, it's a lot like what we said with Luminosity, right? If they can figure out a way to split the Search and Destroys, they'll be a champion. If you're EG, you can figure out a way to split the Hardpoints. You're an 80% win rate in game 2. You have a very good chance to go up 2-0 in the majority of the series you have, with another guaranteeing you that other Search and Destroy at the end,
where it's
this team would be placing a lot higher.
It's like LG found a way to use what works for them, their strengths in respawn, and finally kind of transfer it into Search. I don't know how that works the other way. Like, your strengths of Search and Destroy don't necessarily just transfer right over to respawn. Like, it's a much different story. You can't just all of a sudden become a better Slayer, really. It's difficult to do. We'll see if they can figure it out.
Well, I feel like EG, they've just tried to change their roles so much. It's a lot like FaZe last year, right? I mean, at times, see Enable like running M8, he's in the hill, then the next event, he's got the VMP in his hand, and Zuma's got like an XR2, and everybody's just running around. They never really kind of got comfortable in their situations.
I want someone to find me footage of Zuma with an XR2.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that
the
first
like,
month?
Yeah, it was
first
like,
month or two of the game?
That.
I was about to say that had to have been early as hell, because the only XR2 I can think about is rated from COD Champs. Like, if you're talking later in the year.
Man, yeah. But I remember that specifically because he had a monster game. We casted it, I think.
God,
well,
yeah, I would say that must have been real early.
I have a pretty good memory with things like that.
I don't have a memory at all.
You don't have one. But you look, they never really got on the same page last year. I think EG, you look at them, right? I mean, Parasite comes in now, he's the NV4. Nameless, no NV4, K-Bar, they're switching payload abilities back and forth. You know, now, when I was interviewing Nagafen the other day, they said maybe putting the ERAD in Nameless's hands a little bit more, get his pace up. So I feel like you just have so many moving parts that nobody can really get comfortable in the role they're trying to do.
Yeah, this would be a really, really disappointing weekend. You fought the top 8 through every major open event. When you look back to Stage 1 playoffs, they took first, or Stage 1, they took first in their group. They make it to playoffs. You get the deep run right after that to Anaheim. I mean, if they're not involved in that $500,000 payday playing in Stage 2, I mean, that's got to be a super, just a real big downer going into Champs.
It absolutely would. But I do think this is a team that come Champs time, they have had some guys who have performed very well on that big stage. Nameless, with Murph on Envy, making that loser bracket run during Ghost. Parasite, obviously, with Impact, they get first place in Black Ops 2. Then there's FaZe Red Team with Eggs, they do pretty good. They get third. Nagafen, he's played in a COD Champs final before. Havoc had some success with Complexity last year. So this is a team of 4 players who have played very well at that big event. So I think this is a team that has that experience to go in there and cause some upsets, make it deep into that tournament.
Well, thankfully, they've already secured a spot there. But can they get into the playoff here for Stage 2 is the question. Offense first in our Search and Destroy for MindFreak. We're watching Shocks now, and he is just soaring across the map, finding an easy kill. He doesn't finish it, but Fida does. Fida follows up with a 2-piece, but quickly answered back here from EG. Will look to be a brilliant start from MindFreak. Has now turned into a 2-on-2. Buzzo going to be planting the bomb. It's going to be him and Dins going up against Havoc and Nagafen. Havoc hits everybody. Nagafen just has to finish both these kills. They've both been tagged up, but the ERAD, you know how good it is. At that range, he didn't have much of a chance, unfortunately. The only chance he has is that the player was weak.
Yeah, maybe he thought he had a K-bar. He was going to be able to slide out here, get a few bullets in melee. That's probably what Nagafen was going for there, but it's a kill coming in for MindFreak as they take round number 1 of map 2.
I mean, the only good thing for EG, right? I mean, now that you've already lost the map here, it doesn't really matter how many you lose. You just have to win the series. You can go down 2-0, you can reverse sweep. Not the way you want to get there, obviously, but it doesn't really play into the map count too much right now. You just have to win the series whatever way you can. Can they answer back here now in round 2 as they're going to be on offense? Trying to peek in is Havoc. That's Shocks again. I mean, he basically had a first blood as he got somebody one bullet the first round. Now he finds an opening kill again. Nice shots from Parasite, though. Fida can't die in that position when you've got man up.
I agree. Sitting now is 3-on-3.
A shoulder peek that. Like, you don't need to expose yourself enough that you're dropping.
Sometimes people just get so anxious to try and get the kill there. Like, you're just not. Just stay alive in that type of situation.
Well, if it's anyone else, he probably doesn't die, but Parasite's MV4 has been very, very good this weekend.
That's where he's looked the most comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with the NV4, playing a little bit further back, playing for the spawns and the respawn game modes, but this very smart player when it comes to S&D is the bomb's down for EG. They have it planted towards their side. You see everybody falling all the way back. For a second here, I thought, yep, Nameless, as soon as they get the call out, he's going to try and come to that spiral stairs. He may be a little bit late, though, on the flank.
He gets picked up on the flank. It's going to be Nagafin trying to pick up Shocks. Shocks in a 1 versus 2. A lot to work with. His shots are everywhere. Can't finish it. Thankfully, Nameless is there to clean it up. Maybe he's a little bit off right now. Like, his MV4 was wild right there.
Yeah, it was...
And that happens.
Well, to be fair, I mean, he does pick up the 2-piece right before that. He kills two players coming over the top.
That's true.
It's just the shots on Dens there at the end.
It's probably just one of those frantic situations. Like, you just kill 2. Oh, God, there's a 3rd. You whirlwind a little bit. Okay, well, let's get into round 3. All tied up, 1 apiece. It looks like it's going to be the opposite hit now. First time you saw Fida and Shocks get entry into the A side. Now they're going to be headed up towards B. Nagafin, one of the best, is just going up high, getting angles and finding kills.
As soon as he spots some players, he's going to back all the way up. It'll be Parasite getting first blood. Looks like that comes from the spiral stairs. Early in this series, Parasite has played quite well.
Specifically with that MV4, like you mentioned. Shocks, though, able to turn this back into a 3v3. So the prior round where Parasite got, kind of easy pickings to tie it up, now he's going to fall to be the victim of that. Good job by Havoc, just getting low, letting Nameless pick up the kill. Down a man, but Buzzo with the ERAD in hand, snapping on a Nameless there at the back of Medical Bay. He's trying to help his teammate now. Shocks mid-map. Buzzo, though, finds another one. Keep the ERAD in your hand, Buzzo. I like it.
We've seen him use it a little bit this weekend. I've seen it in the kill feed a bunch. It's quite interesting, funny. Buzzo, we kind of get on him, very slow player with the NV4. We've seen him have pick up some kills with the SMG. Oh, for a second, I didn't think he was going to make it either, but Havoc now, the 1v2. Going on the lower wall run, not able to pick the kill up. MindFreak gets their 2nd round win.
Nice job by Buzzo. So he finds a couple of kills with the ERAD. Shocks and him end up winning a 2 versus 3. Those are the rounds EG has to win, and that's been something they've fallen. It's funny, as good as they've been in Search, they have lost so many rounds of man advantage. I mean, think back to the 1v2, the 1v3 versus LG, another one where you have a 3v2 advantage. It's kind of crazy. They've won 80% of their searches when they've had, I guess, quite a few sloppy rounds.
So we go into the next round.
The Kobe.
Not going to connect.
No, I just saw that. That one was out. That was Fida. He went 20 feet backwards immediately.
It's a slow round here. On breakout for round number 4 is Den's just going to pre-aim here behind the site. He'll lock this down, and EG's taking their time here.
Slow round developing. The POV of Fida now as he's beginning to wrap back. They need to get somebody set up kind of at the back truck. Nobody has pushed it out yet from EG. So should be able to get to a safe position. Parasite can't cut him down on the cross, but yeah, be careful, buddy. I thought they were going to kind of fly at it, but look at this. It's going to be a 3-man hit on Spiral. Everybody about to come in. They were about to fly through, it looked like, but as Shocks got tagged up, he stopped moving.
As soon as those nades come and he gets tagged up, they are not pushing. And maybe the communication doesn't come in right away, because it looked like Fido was coming on a bit of a pinch there, but his teammates didn't come up the stairs. He just blindly runs out from the backside. Everybody gets mopped as they come up the stairs. EG takes round number 4.
Well, that was a good job from EG. I mean, how many times have we seen a team flood through Spiral and for some reason they don't seem ready for it and they kill the guy off bomb or kill the guy right there in front of Medical Bay? This time, it was just funneling into a death trap as EG able to hold on, secure that round victory without losing a whole lot in that one. Now we'll be back tied up at 2-2.
We'll see what MindFreak does here on the offensive end. Looks like this is maybe a fast hit up the middle of the map, and Shocks with the bomb in hand. He's going to lead the charge. Den's behind with the ERAD, going to fall back a little bit. But now the bomb's down in the middle of the map. It's going to be very difficult for MindFreak to get to it, but fortunate for them, they do have the man advantage here.
Well, we saw MindFreak clutch a 2v3. Can EG do the same? Parasite, get out of there, pal. He's tagged up. He's gone. Nagafin now trying to clutch up. He can't escape with his life either. And that's going to be a round for MindFreak, in which they just control mid-map better in that scenario.
Do you ever wonder why? We see it quite often, but like teams have the bomb carrier like lead the way.
I don't know.
I hate that.
They die in a silly spot, and it's like, oh, good luck getting that one back.
I remember when Teep had the bomb, he
would never do
all
that.
the way in the back.
He would never do that.
Teep would never do that.
Because Teep is one of the greatest, smartest, and best-looking Call of Duty players in the history of the world.
History of the world. Yep, it's fairly accurate. I would say that statement's true.
Yeah, 100% is. No one can argue that. All right, here we go. Round 6 now. You'll see Nameless's POV from Commissary as he was looking towards the bomb site. Havoc is going to be trying to control loading, and Nagafin doing what he does best, his best Birdman impression.
His best Birdman impression?
I don't know. A Birdman would be able to jump and fly.
Probably would. He'd have wings as well.
I don't know if I'm talking about the movie or if I'm talking about the athlete.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, Nagafin with the sniper rifle in his hands before you just go way off topic.
I could do that all day.
2 misses. But the pressure he puts on with the sniper rifle, now players don't want to peek out, but you see the push coming in. It's going to be a team kill, though, from MindFreak, and Nagafin goes to challenge with the pistol. Probably could have played that a little bit slower, but now it's going to be Havoc, 1v3.
We've seen him clutch these for sure. Not in a good spot to do it, though. 3 players at the high ground, Havoc in the bottom of a ditch, in which there are numerous bodies. He joins them.
Yeah, he tried to nade out onto the bomb. Maybe Nagafin had that player weak. Maybe you tag him up, finish him off, but it's a trophy. Picks up that nade, forces him out, not able to win the round. It's a 3 round count here in map number 2. So this is a must. This is a must-win map for EG, right? The rest of these are. The series is.
A series is, yeah. I mean, could you technically lose this?
No, it's 4-2. Sorry.
Could you lose this in reverse sweep? I'm not even sure what the scenario is for MindFreak because their map count was so bad coming in today. It was something like 2-9 or 2-7. Well, 2-9, yeah. It was so poor. I don't even know. Even if they 3-0 here, you're still so far behind in map count.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
And you have to play LG then.
And they can play LG. I mean, what? Their best case scenario would be 3-0, 3-0. They get to 8.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd have to look at it. I'm not in League Ops, but if MindFreak wins this series, I got to think that guarantees Fnatic and LG will be your 2 teams going to playoffs. But again, there is pressure. I think Merc might break it down the desk a little bit, but depending on where you are, 3rd or 4th, it's going to depend on what kind of pod you go into. We were talking about seeding 4 COD champs. You know, whether you're playing a top 8 team or playing a 9 through 16, however it breaks down for those.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference, and it's very important. You don't want to get last in these groups, obviously, but the implications they have in the year. So I really loved about Stage 1 too, right? Last place, you had to go through relegation again. That 3rd, 4th was such a huge difference, right? Because 3rd, you qualified for Stage 2, and you qualified for champs, obviously, included in this. So those matches were huge. This is huge in terms of seeding, because if you're MindFreak, obviously do not want to get last place, because you don't want to go to that the tournament at the end of the year, champs, and play, some of the toughest competition early.
Yeah, you're playing an Optic, LG, a Splice, something like that. Not certainly what you want to be dealing with for your group to kick off your COD Champs weekend. Kills traded back and forth. Dens was able to get 2. Backplate almost keeps Shox alive, but now it'll be Fida in a 1 versus 2 against Nagafin and Parasite. You'll see him out and loading. The players from EG looking to wrap all the way over to cell block. Bomb in the hand of Parasite. Looks like they're just kind of playing it slow for now, seeing if they can catch him. They have 50 seconds to work with. There's no real pressure to get this bomb moving.
It's a ton of time for EG to work with. Fida spots one. Parasite's shot is on point today. Quickly takes out Fida. And just like that, it was 4-2 MindFreak. Now we're all tied up at 4 rounds apiece.
Doesn't miss a bullet. 4 perfect shots to take him out. And EG staying alive here in the game too. Can MindFreak take this game? It'd be a shame. It'd almost be frustrating if MindFreak this was their best series of the weekend, considering it's just, we're on day 3. But they are tied up at 4-4. EG has been so good in Search and Destroy this weekend, specifically in clutch situations. Parasite has been amazing. Havoc and Nagafin as well joined that party. Havoc struggled a little bit in game 2. We saw Nagafen struggle a little bit in game 1. Can Parasite go hard carry mode in a search and destroy like we saw yesterday?
You can't kill there.
Like Buzzo. You just have to be aware of the angle there. You can't have your back wide open to the spiral staircase.
He's just sitting there.
Yeah.
That's a very easy kill there for Parasite. Parasite gets another kill in the round, and that'll be everybody dead for MindFreak after they get bombed down. Will be EG taking this round with relative ease after that first blood by Parasite.
Yeah, this has been, I mean, a similar story to what we saw in their game 2 yesterday. Struggles from EG, they don't look all that good, then Parasite bails them out with a lot of big plays. And what, he hit 15, he's got a chance here to exceed that if it goes to around 11.
That was against MindFreak as well.
Yesterday,
the 15 kill game from Parasite. So
MindFreak in Australia, not big fans of Parasite.
No. So it'll be Nagafen popping overdrive at the beginning with the E-Rad in his hand. So this is going to be a very fast hit towards mid-map, probably over towards Showers, trying to get in towards the A site.
Nobody home. They've hit mid-map big time. I mean, Nagafen might be able to get a good timing back towards the opposite side of loading, but, well, if he tries to, it does not work out as Dens does pick up the first kill. It looks like it's going to be around 11 unless Parasite can work some magic. The struggle here is Parasite's 100 off of Trinity, too. So Parasite needs to play this to at least find 1 kill. You want to have that Trinity going into round 11. I mean, that's the most important thing. You're in a 2v4. You don't expect to win this round. He needs to get a kill.
Would be huge if he can earn that Trinity rocket going into the round 11. You do see on the side of MindFreak, though, there's some payload abilities up. Shocks and Dens. See if which ones they have, what they use in the round 11. So most likely will not need to use them in the round. Parasite, though, gets that big kill there onto Buzzo.
And it's not traded. So now it went from maybe your only concern is getting the Trinity rocket to now to, hey, we can win this round.
You have a realistic chance to win the round.
We have to plant the bomb still, so it's not the greatest spot to be in, but you did just spot one of your Parasite. He's eliminated, but he did get the Trinity rocket. Nameless still up, but he should be hunted down momentarily. I don't think they need to hunt him as it's time. He's not going to be able to plant the bomb. He should be dying. And
he's actually, I mean, you saw how close he was to Camo. He was trying to get that next kill to get
more,
Camo.
So then you have Parasite and him in similar situations, right?
He's so close to Camo there. That trying to stay alive.
Yeah, so
Camo.
Heck, if he got 1 kill and Parasite had 1, that's almost like you almost won the 2v4 in a way, right? You get Camo, you get the Trinity rocket, you lose the round, but it gives you so much to work with here for round 11.
If we can jump on with Nameless real quick. Look how close he is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
I noticed the Trinity rocket. I was not looking at his camo meter, so that makes a whole lot more sense why he was hanging around so long.
Yep.
But now it's just similar to what we saw in the last series, where Octane was just a kill away in round 11. He got the camo. Oh, God. The camo gets spotted. Oh, my God. This could not have been a better scenario for Nameless to go big in round 11. Guys, go ahead and run. I'm still here. Snaps onto the second. Knows there's a third. Trying to hunt him down. He's going to get pushed in loading in just a moment, but there's only 2 players left for MindFreak. As he drops, it turns into a 2v2. Parasite, though, doing Parasite-esque things as he makes it a 1v2. Buzzo, can you muster some magic here in round 11? You saw Tommy, the veteran from Europe, do it. Can the veteran from the APAC region get it done as well?
I believe it Shocks for MindFreak, pops the camo, goes on that lower wall run, and then it hits the high wall run. And we've talked about it before with camo on the wall runs. You can still see the shadow on the wall. That's how EG's able to spot him out with relative ease.
If only Buzzo had the option to earn the Centurion and then throw it at someone. Oh, the timing could not have been better. The aim, though, could not have been worse as he tries to react to it. That almost was real tragic for EG. Oh, man, he has an E-Ride there and maybe snaps on the first one, even with a K-bar, maybe able to make the play, but
you know what it might have been?
Their dreams stay alive.
It may have been, you know when 2 players like cross in front of you and it kind of like drags you to the first player? That's kind of what I'm thinking there with Buzzo, because, I mean, his like crosshair went like straight down to the ground. It was like the guy's here and then he went like down there, like, and that's usually kind of like what happens. Like,
yeah, it wasn't an easy situation, but that's about as favorable you could have gotten in 1v2 in the sense that you line up both. You would have had to hit perfect shots, maybe use the bomb as cover, but regardless, another round 11, that's 3 in a row for our search and destroys, this time going the way of EG. EG has got to keep this going. They must win this series to have a chance against Fnatic in the final match of the night. The series continues in just a few brief moments. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is time for our G Fuel key player matchup for MindFreak versus Evil Geniuses. It's Fida and Nagafin.
Nagafin got off to a slow start in this series in the Hardpoint, but you see he's been strong in uplink for EG. The 1.02 uplink KD, 7 total points for the squad. Look to see him grab that drone, use some of the crafty wall runs, throw in some one-point plays. And Fida, probably for me, Maeve, he's been MindFreak's best player all weekend long. You see, even in uplink with the 1.0 KD, 5 total points in the game mode to his name.
That does it for your G Fuel key player matchup. Who's going to take the uplink?
The wheeling term came from the Euros. I get really hyped in my stream and stuff, and like I'll be like going off like talking crap to the other team, and they started saying wheeling. 8 European pros like subscribed to me at once on Twitch. Like, what the heck's going on here? And then they all tweeted me like wheeling. I was like, what is this? And then I guess that's how it started. I don't know. I don't ever realize it when I'm playing. Like, I'm just focused, like calling out to my teammates, like just trying to win. So I don't really realize it, and I'll pull up the back button at the end of the game and be like, oh yeah, I was cooking that map.
Is there a stage beyond wheeling?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there is. You're gonna see it this weekend. It's called the blacking out stage. I black out, dude. That's when the dad head goes below the eye, below my nose. You're not even gonna see my face.
Welcome back, Nameless, needing to wheel here as we continue on in this series. So we got a little bit of an update regarding how everything breaks down for EG depending on this series. We're gonna let the guys talk about it on the desk because apparently I was incorrect. If they win this series, it sounds like they can still win with a 3-1 over Fnatic. We'll let them kind of break it down, do all the...
Let the guys on the desk handle.
Yeah. I don't know why I even talk about that stuff because I have no idea.
You're sitting here trying to draw out the math of all the math counts.
I just confuse myself as I do it, but the main thing is here, it's going to come down to EG Fnatic as long as EG still is able to win this series. But right now it's tied at 1-1. You just saw yet another round 11. Uplink, it's been pretty good for EG. It's all of MindFreak's modes have been about the same and exactly the same. So you got to favor EG, and it's not like all the guys on the desk did for 2-3.
This series looks like it could go to Game 5.
You think?
With how bad EG has been in Hardpoint. It's true. I mean, MindFreak obviously has not been that much better. I think it was a 25% win rate before the series started. Obviously, a little bit better after winning game number 1. But, I mean, you'd definitely favor them in the next Hardpoint, right?
You'd have to.
You'd have to.
Yeah.
I mean, it would... I mean, you would definitely favor EG in the S&D in the Game 5, but would be a scary scenario for Evil Geniuses in a must-win series to go to a Game 5.
Guys getting ready to get started here for the uplink. What do you think, I mean, overall with MindFreak? Like, what do you think just the struggles are due to maybe figuring out the roster change? Or it's pretty similar results in a lot of ways to what we saw in Stage 1, right? Close in a lot of maps, but not able to take many.
I think it's a pace of play issue, not playing fast enough at all times, getting everybody to play fast. Then I think it's also, with your Shocks and Fida, it seems to really not have affected Fida as much because he's played quite well this weekend. But I think it's really Shocks. It's like Dens comes in, he's not baiting for anybody on Tainted Minds. I mean, he's just getting as many kills as he can. That's his only job. Now he comes into this roster. Nope, he wants to go back to playing that way. I mean, that's where he saw success on Tainted Minds, putting up some good numbers, not necessarily resulting in wins, but puts a lot of pressure on Shocks now, because now Shocks is like the first guy or maybe the second guy to engage with Fida. And if he's not picking up the kills, I mean, it's going to reflect poorly on his stats. Obviously kind of gets in your own psyche, right? Because Shocks, after playing with Excite for months, I mean, Shocks was sick at Stage 1, right? I mean, he wants to kind of replicate that. So I think it's just a little bit of an internal dilemma between the team, right? I think it's just getting everybody on the same page, who's doing what, whose responsibilities are what.
And then on the EG side, I'm curious, what do you think? Why do so many of the players seem to be so up and down? I mean, you'll have a game where Havoc's dropping nearly 40 kills, then 15 the next. Same can be said for Nagafin sometimes. What do you think's going wrong there for them?
Well, I think those two guys, it's the way they just are in Respawn. Like, we've seen them have up and down games, right? We talked about Nagafin. Didn't have a great game in game number 1. Would not shock me if he came out in this game and just totally lit it up. But I think it's kind of get back to it. It's where they need to just solidify these roles. Who's going to be running what weapon? Who's going to be running what payload abilities? Commit to a play style and just work on it instead of changing it up every time something doesn't work.
Well, just waiting on the guys to get started. Thank you for your patience. We should be loading in now. Precinct, Uplink, MindFreak fighting for respect. EG just keeping their dreams alive of a potential playoff berth and back-to-back stages here in the 2017 Call of Duty World League Global Pro League.
Red group.
Red group.
Day 3.
Day 3 of stage 2.
Match 2.
Of week 1. We got.
I don't know what they had after that.
Okay, here we go. Off to the races. First POV we're on is going to be Nagafin. Now, the game 1 obviously really struggled. A lot of times we'll see him on this particular map with the ERAD. He's going to be hitting the flanks, trying to play fast, trying to be annoying. But this time with the drone, we'll see if he can put some points on through. They're wrapping back to try and deal with it. There's the 1-point toss. Quick early strike from EG. Everybody ends up dropping, but the damage is done.
Yep, good score there from EG. They really get the drone in mid-map. They wrap it through. Down towards that construction area, down towards the street, not bringing it up towards that top ticket where we see a lot of teams go. Catches MindFreak off guard, able to get a 1-point throw through.
The counterattack, though, alive and well. Multiple players wrapping back for defense, but this is a dunk. This is a very easy one. He has time to wait if they want for someone to get back to mid-map. Unfortunately, it's peppered with the red arrows from Evil Geniuses, so you're just going to have to dunk it. There's no way they're kind of securing back-to-back scores unless somebody goes huge at mid. Okay, as I say that, Dins kills everyone in lobby, so he gets a 2-piece, and now everyone's dead. That is how you end up rallying it. Dins going huge for your team. That should be intercepted. Yeah, Nameless goes up high and able to pick that one out of the sky.
Parasite just crouches behind that cover with the NV4, picks up 3 quick kills. Make it a 4th. Look at Parasite at the beginning of this game. 7-2 on a 4 streak. 0-4 for Nagafin, 0-4 for Nameless. Parasite's NV4 has been fantastic.
It really has. He needs some help right now, though. 8 kills for him. 1 for Havoc. You're trailing by 1. Drone sitting out at Statue. This is what you'll see a lot from Nagafin. Everyone else kind of stacking Statue. He'll be the one trying to, maybe sneak in through mid-street, hit from other angles, so you get kind of a 2-pronged attack. Parasite wins another 1-on-1 there with the MV4. Havoc has just barely gotten into Ticket, trying to get his health back. Teammates dropping around him. He's going to bring it out back to mid-street. He has some help here. Nameless clearing the way. It's Zeus doing it for EG. There's a dunk in lead back in their favor.
It's a fantastic route by Havoc with the drone in his hands. He goes up in the top ticket, jumps down for just a little bit, then ramps it back up towards the top side. It's a fantastic score there from EG. For as bad as, some of their guys got off to, a slow start in the kills department, they're able to have the lead here with a little bit under 3 minutes to go in the first half. The side of MindFreak, Shock's coming alive a little bit, 8-3, but the rest of his teammates are sitting at around even each.
Well, last time there was an EG score, MindFreak hit very, very fast. Doesn't look to be the case this time, as the kills going the way of EG. You're stuck outside here by Gas. Nameless does find one before he falls. Everything going EG's way. They've got several players still up. The drone here at mid-street. Everyone going to be coming off spawn for MindFreak. This is not going to be an easy score by any means. And yeah, they get cleared out pretty quickly there at mid.
It's not going to be a score at all. MindFreak, everyone coming off the spawn, that back alley, they take care of business. Wipe the floor with EG. Now with the drone in Buzzo's hands, looks like MindFreak, they were trying to get control of this top side. You've seen the kill feed. Havoc takes out Dens. Dens is over by the cat statue trying to get control. Does not work out. It's going to be 3 kills in favor of EG. You see, it's going to be instant offense move. It's going to be Havoc off the wall run, gets the 1-point throw off, and he's going to connect, putting EG up 2.
And they've had, I feel like every first half I've watched of EG and Uplink, at least the ones I've casted, they've had a lead in the first half every single time. Some they've thrown away like they've done with Fnatic. Some they've carried through and finished it like they did against LG. What's going to be the scenario here? You've got 90 seconds left. They're trying to tack on more points. There it is, a dunk through, 6-2. EG put it on dirty right now in the final moments of side 1.
And Havoc had them pinned in the back alley. Dens was actually watching this cross that we saw Nameless watching, but Havoc in the corner just forced him out. Was able to win a gunfight. Made that 2-point play possible. And here's some kills in the kill feed for MindFreak, but they just have not been able to get control of that top statue area. You see Nagafin just been trolling the middle of the map. His teammates coming off the spawn, flooding that top side of the minimap. And that's giving a lot of map control to EG here, preventing any pushes from MindFreak.
They've slowed it down now. Parasite does tack one with a nade. Ends up getting the assist. Nagafin covers him well. Nagafin rebounding after a poor game 1. He had a solid search and destroy. And he's doing it here at Uplink as well. There's 30 seconds remaining here. Nagafin hoping he can get another point on the board. They're inside a ticket to see if anyone can clear the way for kills. Yeah, you get the call. Just go for the 1-point toss after everybody drops. There it is, 7-2. Nice first half from EG.
Does it scare you that MindFreak isn't really that explosive of a team, right? With a lead for EG, you know, pretty nice one. You know, up 5 now going into half number 2. For MindFreak to be able to like rally a lot of points through here in the second half?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, that sort of what you said is what has scared me all year for your top APAC teams, whether it's Tainted Minds, whether you're talking about MindFreak. I feel like in the past, there was at least always a specialty or something that maybe North American or European teams would fear. You think back to Ghost, it'd be Search and Destroy, and they didn't play all year. But now with the Call of Duty World League and they're playing more and more, I feel like that fear's kind of gone away. Like, what is the bread and butter of MindFreak right now? What is their like go-to that they have an advantage over other regions? I feel like it's nothing right now.
Yeah, I mean, you would have said their Search and Destroy is their strongest.
But it's not. It's not levels ahead or levels different where you're throwing people off like you used to. It's just not there anymore.
I mean, maybe they're taking the wrong way about it. We say, you know, maybe now the Australians got to come over and practice in North America, get used to the NA play style. It's like maybe they just need
play
to
as different as you can, right?
Play their own play style that works and just kind of throw teams off guard. I don't know, because this has just not really worked for MindFreak.
Yeah, I'm just curious. You know, I want to see this team. I like the the story behind it. When you have those deep runs, and they've had some incredible champs finishes. Just can it happen this year? I mean, if you're just looking at the body of work recently, if you're combining what Anaheim, Stage 1, Stage 2, I don't see it.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, since I feel like too, as soon as they made this change, see Parasite going in for a 2-point play. As soon as they made this change, I feel like they expected to see like instant success. Like, oh, we're going to go back to playing as just as good as we were before. Like, clearly they haven't, and I think that's a little bit of a shock, right? Because you give up, you know, Excite, you get Dens back. You know, Dens leaves MindFreak at the beginning of this game, so you never really got a chance to see MindFreak play with Dens on this title. I think a lot of expectations for this team when the move is made.
Yeah.
It just has not worked out this far.
Well, think about it. I mean, in Stage 1, did they look pretty good in the sense that they had a lot of Game 5s, they pushed teams to the limit? But think about who you're playing. You're playing an MV team that we now know was really falling off. Cloud9, who was falling apart, right? Look at this group, right? Everyone is a challenge. Everybody, EG, Fnatic, Luminosity. It's a much tougher group, and they've been beaten, battered.
But I will say they have. I mean, Stage 1 they kept a lot of the games close. It's a good point. You know, the competition in this group much better than the one they had in Stage 1.
Way better, yeah.
But like you kind of, at least in Stage 1, like you kind of saw like, okay, you know, maybe they go back and fix some things, like they can kind of like really kind of break through.
I don't know what the answer is right now.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't really know. At least, you know, watching what you do.
Well, as we get back to kind of the play-by-play here, there is 3 minutes left in the second half. EG up 9-2 right now. They've been in complete control of the game. Uplink has been their best mode outside of Search and Destroy, and they're showing a lot of why. Overdrive just got popped by Parasite. He's going to want to take it through. There's the dunk, 10-2. In a dismantling here on MindFreak in Game 3. The question really is just going to go forward. Yes, there's time to make a comeback, but you got to start thinking about really the hard point at this point. Can you win both of those off a team that's been the worst in the week?
I think they can. For as bad as this Uplink game has been, definitely think MindFreak has the potential to take game number 4. Now you see another point go through there for EG. Like, it has to be an adjustment for Dens too, because with Tainted Minds, it wasn't like he was playing against, you know, incredible competition. I mean, it's a team that's going through the open bracket a lot. I mean, in Australia, they would, you know, pretty much beat everybody, then get to the finals. They've had some good games with MindFreak.
Put it this
not the best of practice.
Aches is one of the better eyes of talent that we've seen when it comes to picking up younger players. I mean, we see what's going on right now with Exotic and Prisa. They got a top 4 finish. I mean, we know how he's good at that. There was talk of him picking up Dens, right? I mean, that was a conversation early, like when they were first talking about the team change for Cloud9. He told me how good Dens was at Hardpoint, how dominant he can be, this and that. Like, Aches was in love with the guy. Like, he really thought that highly of Dens. I haven't seen that Dens this weekend. And I know we've said that a lot about him in the past, not just Aches, but I mean, I haven't seen that.
It's when you can't really get better when you're just kind of playing against people who you can beat pretty easily, pretty consistently. You see a 2-point play go in there for EG. And I think, you know, look, he's playing with some, you know, I don't want to say like lesser talent, but, you know, not playing at the top of his game. Yeah, what do you want to say?
Real quick, well, I just realized
you're freaking out.
I just thought it was funny. We talked about the consistency for EG and how it hasn't really been there. One player struggling, another player going off. It was like exactly everybody had 21 kills. Their stats are basically identical. Look at even getting involved in the drone. Like this is probably the most balanced effort I've ever seen out of EG. So I thought it was funny. It just hit me like how close they are and everything.
You just started like shaking your hands like something crazy was going on. I'm like looking down. I'm like nobody's got an ability. Nobody's got streaks.
I just thought it was
talking about.
It was surprising me because we haven't really seen that, right? I mean, usually for EG, it's been one guy kind of going off, whether it's been Havoc or Parasite, another guy kind of lagging behind. Nameless has been up and down. This is the one respawn where I've seen that everybody really involved.
Another score there for Evil Geniuses. You know, after the first initial points go through from MindFreak, I mean, they have not really done much here in game number 3. Still, they have a chance to force this to the distance. In game number 4, they won the first hardpoint. Can they do it one more time?
Final seconds ticking away. Nagafin letting them know right now as he's shooting bodies, preparing for the game 4. But I wouldn't get too confident right now for EG. Yes, you won that with ease. You've won back-to-back matches. But there is little to no confidence, I believe, in their hardpoint gameplay right now. And, you know, if you get to a game 5, it's anybody's game. I know how good EG has been. But that is a coin flip for me. I kind of always feel that way about game 5s a lot of time. I mean, sometimes depending on map, I'll change my mind, but anybody can win. One player going off can completely change the game.
Look how good game 2 was. I mean, game 2 kind of comes right down to the wire and search and destroy.
Yeah.
You expect game 5, if MindFreak can force it by taking this next hard point, you expect game 5 to be that close.
Every search today has been around 11. If we get to a game 5, I fully expect it to follow suit. Why? I don't know. That's just how the world works.
In game 5, with so much pressure on EG,
it's true.
I would love to see how they react to that much pressure.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that's been their home. That's been where they've dwelled throughout the year.
They're, what is it, an animal with their back against the wall? Or
yes, they are animals with their back against the wall. Don't poke the bear. Don't touch a bird in a cage. I don't think any of those were right. It's fine.
No, don't poke a bear would be like, don't take like a map off of like LG and then like they come back kind of roll through you. Like playing your best with your back against the wall would not be poking the bear.
Yeah. Hardpoint coming up next. EG taking a 2-1 advantage. The rig draft has begun and we'll be getting into the action very swiftly here. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking MindFreak though. One, I want a game 5. I just realized if I have another game 5, I'll be casting for like 3 straight hours. But I'm having fun. I'm having fun with you, buddy.
I'm having fun with you.
You're doing a great job.
No, that's, you usually say that. I usually don't pay you any compliments, but I think you've been fantastic as well.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
It's all friendship and love amongst us casters and analysis.
Debatable.
Yeah. Jack sucks.
He's all right. I love when he said Natalie Portman was blonde.
That was weird.
Yeah, I was like, which Natalie Portman are you talking about?
I mean, I think about, like, I know I'm 32. I'm, 10 years older than Jack, but...
That's weird to think about.
It is. But, you know, we're becoming best friends. But when you look at it, I mean, Natalie Portman, Phantom Menace, when that came out, I fell in love. I did. But think about Jack. Jack's had never seen Star Wars. No wonder.
Oh.
No wonder. That makes a lot more sense.
What a bad human.
Yeah. That's unreal. He tried to watch the first one the other day, and he couldn't get through it. I was like, Jack, this is hurting our friendship.
And you're his roommate.
Yeah.
Game 4 coming up. Hardpoint. Between MindFreak and EG. We both like MindFreak in this game 4. You know, both teams have not been very good in Hardpoint, but MindFreak has been slightly better. They won the game 1. Can they do it again to force game 5? EG needs a win here to keep their chances of, making it to playoffs, getting that second spot alive.
Oh yeah, my question right now is, this is a pride check kind of for MindFreak. Do they fold after that game 3? Or do we see some passion in them to win this? I don't know the answer to that. I didn't talk to the guys really today, where their heads were at coming into this. I mean, you're in stage 2, so you're into champs. Even if you don't have a chance to qualify for playoffs, you have to look at this. You complain about lack of scrims. You're playing against the top 8 team in North America. You have to give it your all, work on your gameplay, go as hard as you can. I don't know. That game 3, I felt they started to kind of fold towards the end of that one. I hope that's not what we see in Hardpoint.
And after this, they go home, right? They go all the way back to Australia. You're not going to get those good scrims against North American
That's
teams.
not nearby.
Nope, not nearby. It's a long flight. And then, you don't have many other teams to play against, right? You just have the other teams that have qualified for champs in Australia to play against. Everybody else, trying to make some rosters, for next year. Maybe they can set some scrims up with some of the better-known players, but this is their best chance at practice, really, really good practice before champs.
Absolutely is. And this, it's tough because, they struggled coming into today, but today's their hardest day, right?
Yeah.
They play, well, maybe. I mean, I would say EG, LG probably the toughest day, but with the way Fnatic played, I could have that way wrong.
No, I definitely would agree with you. I think this is definitely the toughest day playing against both the North Americans. You remember, MindFreak 3-0'd Fnatic 3-0'd them back, so they split the series with them. They're very competitive games. But that's where it's frustrating. Fnatic now, contending for a #2 spot. MindFreak, who has the capability to 3-0 a team like Fnatic, cannot get it done against the other teams.
Okay, well, here we go. It's 3 down for EG right off the break. Nameless going to be the last man up. His teammates coming in from behind on spawn. Buzzo takes him out basically instantly. Buzzo starting out 2-0, make it 3-0 as Havoc gives him a free kill, peeking the edge. Finally, though, it's Nagafin pushing around the flank. Nagafin gets 2, somehow stays alive. Makes fight at least hunt him down. Unfortunately, the rest of his teammates drop. I was going to say that might have been a really solid play had he had teammates on the opposite side pushing, but everybody falls.
It's a good hold here from MindFreak at the beginning of this game. Locking down Bridge. Den's getting off to a good start. We talked about it. We needed to see Dens turn into that Dens we saw in Tainted Minds. And a lot of players think he's the best player in Australia. Needed to show up in this series.
Yeah, show it then. You're 6-1 right now. You're on a 4 streak. He started out strong. Nameless playing a kind of the sneaky back area. I don't think I've ever seen that work. Every time I see him back there, I'm like, all right, this time it's going to work.
It's such a common spot.
It's the first place they look, right?
It's the first place everybody looks as soon as they slide down behind that box.
All right. It's going to be EG, though, trying to break. MindFreak inside and holding. The streak from Dids has ended. Havoc trying to pinch around the back. He's at least contesting here. This is one of the harder gunfights in the game. When you're trying to, you've got basically 2 bits of cover you're using on either side, and not nearly as much to work with right now if you're Havoc. Nameless though comes in over the back as Havoc stays alive. It's a nade that'll take out Nameless. His MindFreak's lead has grown to 44 points.
With so many players though attacking Havoc, he can't peek out left or right. Makes it very difficult for him to fight either of those gunfights. He falls last 10-15 seconds or so. We'll go to MindFreak. So now we're going over to Hangar with EG getting set up.
And this was the very first game of the weekend. Remember, it was MindFreak versus Luminosity. And I thought MindFreak played better than Luminosity in a lot of ways. And the fact they were rotating early, they were getting set up. Unfortunately, just the brute strength of LG kept busting on through. I just don't know that EG shares that same brute strength. So if you play smart, if you're getting those early rotations, getting 4-man setups, MindFreak can absolutely win this game. And obviously they're up 40 points right now, but I was impressed with what I saw from them day 1 against LG.
Well, now Havoc is starting to get into a rhythm. On a 4 streak, just trying to hunt for players here in the middle of the map. EG racking up some time, starting to come back a little bit. It's only going to be the Scarab, though, for Havoc as he falls near mid-map. And Parasite, he's been the one who's been so consistent, for EG the last 2 days with the MV4 in his hand. This map, going to swap it out for the K-Bar a little bit more close quarters. Not getting off to a good start, but fortunate for EG, you're getting those good games out of Nagafin and Havoc.
Yeah, you are. That's just so weird about this EG team. It's not like, a lot of teams you have at least 1, maybe 2 guys that regardless of map or mode and respawn, they're gonna go off, right? Like they're gonna have a 1-1-2. They do it time and time again. EG, I just feel like sometimes you're rolling the dice. Like,
you never know.
Depending on that map, who's it gonna be that's gonna step up? And it might just be a difference of maps. Some guys a little bit more comfortable there. The roles change a little bit throughout, but it's just so different than stage 1 where Nameless was good every respawn. He was good for 30, 35 kills.
He's dominant. But look at the score. We were talking, so much about EG. They were locking down Hangar, just completely dominating this game now. MindFreak, they get blown out on Hangar. Now on Drill, it has been all EG as well.
EG starting to build the lead here. Back to Nagafin at mid-map. He's just watching any kind of flank opportunities. There he's able to pick one up as I believe a split spawn came through. Nice shots. Naga tagging up everybody. He actually finishes that kill. A little bit of a whirlwind, but the 1 bullet he needed does come in. Nagafin 11-9. Just over the 45-second mark here in the hard point. Now it's going to get back to mid, but Naga still hunting.
Has MindFreak gotten a point since Bridge? No, since, Turbine?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It was 73 to 20 something.
Yeah, I think EG is totally wiped the floor with them. since the second Hardpoint.
Was that the LG Fnatic game where LG was perfect on Hanger as well? It was something 100 something to 0. So, I mean, we've seen that happen. Team's certainly capable of it. But right now, if you're MindFreak, that's what's hurting you. That's what's giving EG back the lead.
And Havoc picking up all 4 there. Just pushing forward. Him and Parasite getting control of bridge for EG. Now you see the other members of EG outside of Parasite working towards that top side of the minimap. We're going to clear that area out so they have that turbine control when the next hill pops up. Parasite trying to just win one gunfight on the hill, take the rest of the time. It's a big kill there by Shox. If you're MindFreak, you just got to fly. You got to get control of turbine here first.
Oh, it's a big kill too because it stops those streaks, right? That Havoc was starting to build. Just cuts him a little bit short. But Havoc, I mean, this is what we expected from him kind of after day 2. He was great. You could tell as soon as he started getting loud. So this is where MindFreak punished EG. They're about to do it again. Look how far out EG is spawning. The question, it comes down to the rotation out of this. Can MindFreak put this and Hanger together in a solid way, or is it going to be what we saw last time where EG just throttles them in Hanger? EG has an opportunity for the break with 35 seconds left. You only got 1 or 2 cracks at this.
Hanger and Drill is where EG took the lead in the first half. Turbine is where MindFreak made their money in the first half of this game. Havoc with 2, not able to grab a third. It will still be MindFreak in control. 24 seconds left on the Hardpoint. You see EG, they're going to dedicate some players to rotate over towards Hanger, maybe a few players to try and pick up some kills here, try and get in towards Turbine. But it'll be MindFreak taking the lead. Nobody rotating early, though, for MindFreak. They're going to rely again on trying to break into Hanger.
And you see why we talk about these 2 Hardpoints so much. I mean, EG really only got, what, 1 really good 4-man crack at that. The first came in transition, and they took 15 seconds coming over spawn. You don't get many looks at it. Same can be said for Hanger. It's Nameless that spawns out. He should have a nice flank opportunity on the players coming from mid-map. Nameless just shot 2 in the back as he spawned out near research and came in from behind through mid. Shox does get a pick there with a nice long-range gunfight. Shox going huge. This might be their ability to crack. He picks up 2 out in rocks. Where's the spawn come in? All the way back at Turbine. Havoc has to go God mode right now for them to have a chance. And as he drops, Parasite falls as well. Nagafin, last man here to do the deed, not able to do it. MindFreak bust through.
There's still a lot of time left here, 20 seconds. It would be a good time here for MindFreak. Maybe you get 1 player, start to build towards streaks, so you can get over towards Drill. But I don't think MindFreak can rely on giving up this early rotation if we do see Hanger again. There's still a ton of time left in this game. You very well may see this hill come up 1 more time. I don't think they can give up the rotation to either Turbine or Hanger that early again and rely on breaking it.
Well, last time we were at Drill, it was Nagafin that did a really good job of finding kills, going up for his team. Parasite struggling, but for the most part, it's this Havoc Nagafin show, which we've seen time to time throughout the weekend. Nagafin now coming in, him and Nameless able to clean up everybody. They bust through. You need those big kills from Nameless as he's having not the best slaying game, but now we'll see if he can work towards streaks. He's just 25 off the Scarab.
Just seems like every time they need a big 2-piece, though, he's there.
Yeah.
Like you're seeing Havoc, pick up some kills towards the middle of the map. But every time they need a big 2-piece where it looks like MindFreak's going to break in, take control, Nameless has been there for Evil Geniuses.
Able to connect with the Scarab, backs down, has an Erad. Nice job trying to reposition and focus, but the rest of his team, there you go, the duo of Havoc and Nagafin. They kill everybody, they'll secure their team the final 10 or so points, and they'll begin to rotate back to mid-map. They've got everything covered. It's like in the hard point, it was Havoc and Nagafin. On rotation, it was Nameless and Parasite picking up the kills. All 4 guys now getting involved, and Naga does have camo to play with.
And that camo will be big if we go to Turbine. EG with a chance to close it out here on bridge. 3 streak for Nagafin, 4 streak for Parasite, 2 streak for Nameless. These guys starting to heat up the end of this game.
Yeah.
And with 40 seconds left on this Hardpoint, Maeve, very good chance for them to close it out here. MindFreak's got to go quick. They're not going to have many cracks at this.
They really need to. I mean, depending on where the spawns come in, they're just holding both sides brilliantly. This is spectacular stuff from EG. A perfect hold thus far. Just over 10 points needed here to secure the 3-1 victory and set up a very climatic date with Fnatic to wrap up the night. But at this point, MindFreak has broken in for the time being. You can still win it here if you get through. Parasite has gotten both kills. The spawn's coming in at Turbine. They may get in, but look, they also funnel 1 doorway. This should be game. That's game. Evil Geniuses, they do it. They get the victory they needed. It wasn't at all times pretty. but they get the must-needed win. It was, what, a round 11 in Search and Destroy. They lost the game 1 Hardpoint. But now, I mean, I know we have LG versus MindFreak coming up next, but I know everyone is looking forward to EG Fnatic, North America versus Europe. Who's going to be taking that second spot here? I'm excited for that one.
Seems like EG woke up towards the later half of that series. At the beginning, obviously, MindFreak comes out, takes game number 1. The map throwback, though, definitely played in their favor. No, Fida did a very nice job on that map, putting a lot of kills on the board for MF. But if they win that S&D, makes things interesting going to a game 5 right now. But EG clutched up in that round 11, dominated the uplink, and then right there took care of business in game number 4. It's
been EG all year. You know, when they need to win, they do. When you maybe don't expect them to, they do. When they're down in a series, they do. That's been EG, so we can't be shocked to see this. That's what I think so scary for Fnatic when you look towards the final match of the night. Like, Fnatic maybe hasn't come up big in any of those positions. We haven't seen a lot of great tournament finishes. When that much pressure is on, you have to favor EG. You have to.
I mean, Fnatic, this is their 3rd weekend in a row of tournament play, so a lot of good practice. You know, they played a lot of matches up until this point, but a lot of close games for Fnatic here this weekend.
I'll tell you what, the new guy on the squad that stepped it up in a big way through day 2 and 3, it is Parasite, and he's on stage with Courage.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Fantastic win there for Evil Geniuses, but their weekend is not done yet. We now know for sure who's in 4th, that's MindFreak, and who's in 1st in this group with Luminosity. But now the battle will all come down to our final match of tonight, Fnatic versus EG and Parasite. Great series from you there, but while that series is great, you know what you have to do now. It's pretty simple. In the final series, EG have to 3-0 or 3-1 Fnatic to get that 2nd spot. If Fnatic force a game 5 or then win the series and all, Fnatic will get that 2nd spot. Earlier this weekend, Fnatic beat you guys 3-1. What was the issue in that series? What have you guys looked to improve upon when you face them later on this weekend?
I personally think we just started off really slow. I mean, that's kind of like the EG way. Even since I joined the team back at Anaheim, we started off really slow in pool play at the beginning of the tournament. So, I mean, it just replicated here. I think we just need to come out hot and come out how we've been playing versus LG last night and then obviously versus MindFreak the last 2 series. And if we can manage to do that, I think we're going to either win the series or we're going to have a damn good game for it.
Oh, most certainly. I think that's everyone's excited about. You guys have both played LG tough. We just saw Fnatic actually beat Luminosity. Did you guys get a chance to watch that series? Anything you took away from it?
Well, I noticed that they kind of like were spreading out the rounds in S&D, their offenses, they took their time because I feel like that's where LG is the weakest, where they have to move around the map and you extend rounds. And they did that really well, and I think that's what worked out for them in Search and Destroy. And then at the same time, a lot of the pressure was kind of off LG, that they didn't really need to perform in order to take first in their group. So I don't think they, personally, I don't think they went as hard, but I mean, who's to say? I can't take anything away from Fnatic. They beat a strong LG squad.
Absolutely. Now, final question for you here, Chris. Moving into your series later today, what is one thing Evil Geniuses has to improve on to ensure you can get the series victory?
I think we need to start out our hardpoints better, and we just need to win hardpoint. I think hardpoint's been our weakest game mode throughout the tournament. So our Search and Destroy is really good, and our uplink is definitely been improving. So as long as we can take those hardpoints or take any hardpoint at all, I think we should cruise through the series if we manage to do that.
Well, that is the marquee matchup for the rest of today, and that's Parasite, the new 4th of EG. Who will get that 2nd spot? We'll find out later today. But for now, let's send it over to the boys on the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Jack. So we all knew coming into the final day 3 of the red group, Evil Geniuses was going to be one of our squads to watch. Regardless of what happened between Fnatic and Luminosity, it was likely going to come down to that game 4. Now that they've beaten this MindFreak squad, EG is exactly in the position we expected them to be in. And Joe, you called this series perfectly. You said they're going to lose game 1, which they did by just 10 seconds, and then rattle off the next 3. Why were you so confident in Evil Geniuses coming in?
I just felt like games 2, 3, and 4 really were in their favor. That breakout S&D was a little bit scary. I'm sure we'll get into that. But game number 1, throwback hardpoint, I just felt like Fida and Shocks were going to take over, and they did. That game 1 was just very fast-paced. I felt like Buzzo's improved a lot, actually, for stage 1. He's playing a lot better. And it just seems like throwback is one of those games where that pace from Fida and Shocks can really take over. Obviously, Dens as well, just playing exceptionally well. But EG, again, they're slow to start to series. You know, it takes them a while to warm up. And I just figured with MindFreak, the pressure on them, they were going to bring out, you know, all the energy and win this game #1.
We've been talking about Fida and how strong he has been all weekend long. The question was, all right, with Excite not in the group, Fida, he has to play more aggressive. He has to be an entry man. He drops the 40 bomb here in our opening match, Steve.
Oh yeah, just dominant gameplay overall. The duo that we've been expecting to show up throughout this stage hasn't really been there, but this map we're able to see that finally. And then speaking on the other side, EG, the fact that they kept it so close, you can see on the scoreboard there, Nagafen 10 and 26 at this point at Barn in the last couple of seconds. The fact that this is even a tie game when a player is holding you down that much is impressive in itself. Parasite's NV4 today has been like none other. He's looking like Octane with his shot, honestly, and with the kill-death ratios in respawns and search and destroy, Parasite's been the MVP so far.
It shocks, honestly. He was the difference maker. You saw that kill right there. The camo player called out. Shox doesn't miss any shots there on Parasite. Gets back into the hill after a 6 streak. It's all done. MindFreak locks up game #1. And it looked like they may continue this momentum as we loaded up our next map. It was Breakout, Search, and Destroy. You had Fida doing work in that first Hardpoint. Here's a look at the numbers before we get to Search. 40 kills, 1.43. On the other side, you nailed it. Parasite is showing up in the Hardpoints. That's been the big difference maker since day one. 38 kills, a 1.58. When it came down to the rotations, Momo, break it down for us. Was there any key hill or was it just key moments?
I think rotations in general, I mean, you can see by the final score, you know, both of them had their kind of, their rotations, you know, back and forth. I will say, and agree with Parasite, EG, they started slow again. MindFreak had that lead. But when EG kind of get into the swing of things, it feels like the communication goes from 50% to 100%. And I think we can hear that obviously here. But the likes of Parasite, he's a very kind of calm player. He's not one to get frantic and start shouting. He kind of directs his team. I think that's what he brings to them. And I think that helps in the rotations as well. But 250 to 240, it's 10 points. Shox kind of turned up at the end. That first map, it was anyone's, and S&D, it was just as close.
S&D, we were in for a treat. Another good one as we went over to Breakout. As we take a look at some of the highlights from this, what were your favorite moments that we saw on Breakout, Search, and Destroy?
I mean, it just has to talk about sort of those showers, just those fights. I mean, and it came really down to payload usage. Nameless at the end did a great job with that camo. He was really able to clutch up, you know, and lucky he had it for that round. But, you know, MindFreak, they played Breakout S&D, you know, pretty darn well. But, you know, this is one of those games where I felt like Nagafin Sniper really had to show, and he had a solid game #2, especially after a game #1 where he's really struggled.
In his pistol, you saw early kills with it, didn't get the kill in that round 5. As the game went on, it looked like MindFreak was going to jump out to a 4-2 lead. EG never went away. One player I want to kind of highlight, though, as we take a look at the highlights is Buzzo. Buzzo and Dens both were pulling out ERADs here on Breakout. Is that something we should expect from all teams moving forward, is the use of SMGs on this map in particular?
Well, I don't see any reason not to, especially with how that loading and middle area works. It's just the best weapon to have in a lot of these scenarios. Two things I want to point out on this map, though. It was a hell of a map overall. Parasite with 15 kills, but I believe he got almost every single first blood, 4 or 5. I need to go back and double check. But the guy is roaming around the map so well, opening up situations and extending those rounds out. In that interview, I love to say that LG is weak at that. EG's very strong at those late round situations. The pickup of Parasite has helped with those situations a lot. And going to Momo's point as well, the communication, it's calm. You need someone like that to settle your team down in those tense scenarios, and that's why they're clutching up so much.
Parasite dropped 16 kills the first time these two teams met up in Search and Destroy. 15 kills here in the second rematch. So incredible stuff from Parasite throughout the series games 1 and 2. Momo, I want you to walk me through, though, game #3. How did the uplink break down?
Uplink was a tough one. I mean, starting straight after kind of losing around 11, it's always hard. We've all been in that experience to kind of lose around 11 and kind of go into a game straight away after that. But it started well. MindFreak, they get 2 points. And then from there, we just saw kind of Evil Genius just pull away. Again, is it that slow start that Parasite's talking about? You know, it's back and forth. They find their feet. They find how it's working. But one thing I will say is Fighter, from a respawn of, you know, dropping 40 kills to going into, you know, an uplink dropping, you know, a very poor Slayer rating, shall we say. It has to be more consistent, but again, I think EG, they find their feet in the series, and that second side, it says it all. I think when it was 7-1, even though the first was nearly just as dominating. But overall, very good performance from EG, and I didn't expect it to be that kind of large the gap. We saw close Hardpoint, close S&D, and then suddenly a 14-3 Uplink. I didn't expect that.
And TB, let's close out the Uplink by talking about the strength of Evil Geniuses, specifically in the second half. MindFreak, they only scored 3 points. 2 of them came in the first minute. What happened after that moment for EG to establish total control?
EG's just making a case for them being one of the best uplink teams, in my opinion. The fact that they're able to slow the game down so much, and when there's such just a clear difference between Parasite and Buzzo in that MV4 battle, especially on something like Precinct, there's just not really much you can do. Precinct's very easy, a map where you can just hold the drone back in your base, rotate over towards gas, throw the drone down, and I feel like something that LG has actually struggled with, EG's strong at as well. They throw the drone down, but they don't force the forward momentum, and the fact that they're able to control whatever side of the map they want, force the team to rotate, it makes the game so slow and so easy, and I feel like that's the reason why all 4 players on EG on that map had like that pretty much even ratio there.
Joe, we're going to jump in here to game number 4, I'm told by the producer. Let's talk Hardpoint. Uplink wrapped up by EG. They're now on match point.
Yeah, I mean, MindFreak obviously started this game number 4 very hot, but as soon as you get sort of towards this Hangar Hill, I mean, the game just sort of changes, and this is what you want to see. MindFreak, if you have a 60, 70-point lead, you have to be able to break these hills and put the pressure on it. They can sort of snowball the game. You're going to get your payloads faster. You're going to build up streaks, but Evil Geniuses does a great job responding. Again, they were down 70 to 18. You know, that pressure is on them. They have to win this series, so they do a great job responding. Havoc, Nagafin picking up that slane. That's what you want to see from those guys. MindFreak, still in a game, but this bridge hill really separates them.
Yeah, I want to point out Havoc. He was kind of my player, which really impressed me on day 2, and he continues to do so in the respawns. I've known for a while his S&D, you know, everyone knows it is kind of his favorable game type, but to see him performing like he is doing in the respawns as well, I think that's a great asset to have on your team. And, you know, is Havoc playing so well because of the introduction of Parasite? Is that kind of a two-way thing? Was he you know, playing at a different pace when there was Study on the roster? I'm not sure, but it's definitely favoring him and his team as well. Pulls out that with a very impressive score.
And we watched kind of the video piece on Havoc, just talking about how he's recommitted himself to this team and also just putting in the time as an individual. Parasite, though, he was the star in this series, and he shows you why he was picked up for Study, dropping massive numbers starting in that game number 1. 15 kills in Search and Destroy is ridiculous. If he continues that later, Fnatic is going to be in trouble. The end of this all, though, I look at Evil Geniuses, I look at their hard points. You lose by 10 points. Your second matchup wasn't that close. When we look forward to the matchup later, EG Fnatic, who do you give the edge to? Because Fnatic's been up and down in that same game mode, Teep.
It's really tough to call. It seems like individual players on either side just seem to have a bad game. I think it's going to come down to, it seems like Nagafen today seems to be the weak link in hard points for EG. On the other side, Sunny B needs to have a good performance. Both of those guys playing faster, aggressive roles for these teams. So these hard points are going to basically call it for me in that last series.
I want to say, I mean, I've kind of jumped the gun a little bit on this. I've looked at Game 4 maps, and Breakout Hardpoint is the first one. Bit of a fun fact for you guys is Fnatic's Hardpoint on Breakout, speaking to the guys upstairs only a few minutes ago, they've lost something ridiculous, like 6 out of the last 6 at Breakout. So what they're going to do differently, I'm not sure. I don't know the game plan for that, but it's not a great map for them to start off on.
So just to remind everybody at home where we're at in Group Red, 2 teams are moving on. The other 2, they're waiting for the Call of Duty World League Championship to see who they're going to face off against in the pools. But the teams that are going for the playoffs, right now we know Luminosity is locked in. Fnatic currently in that number 2 spot, but they could lose that number 2 spot to Evil Geniuses if EG wins by 3-0 or 3-1 in our final match of the day. Coming up next, we're going to see Luminosity taking on the boys from Down Under and MindFreak once again. But before we get to that, want to remind you, everyone is welcome to come join us here at the MLG.TV Arena in Columbus, Ohio. The Call of Duty World League Global Pro League continues next week, and starting Friday, we are going to have the Group Blue. That's E6, FaZe, Elevate, and the new Ghost Gaming Squad, formerly Bittersweet, which shocked everyone back at Anaheim. Week 2 is going to be incredible, but we still have 2 more matches to go here in Week 1. Don't go anywhere. This is the Call of Duty World League Global Pro League presented by PS4.